Hi people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for my June TBR. I have high expectations for this month for the quality of the books that I will be reading, but not so much for the quantity of the books I will be reading. So without any further ado, the first book on this list is called Land of Broken Promises. This book comes out June 6th, and it's a middle grade contemporary sequel to In This Beautiful Country, which I read last year and I really enjoyed. Basically, it was about this Taiwanese immigrant, and I love reading stories about immigrants. Maybe it's because I'm the child of two immigrants, and also Fish Out of Water is absolutely my favorite trope of all time, right up next to Found Family. But anyway, I'm so excited to read this book because it sounds like it's going to be absolutely so good and so amazing. The first book was absolutely so excellent, and I just really enjoyed it. I know typically sequels tend to disappoint me, but contemporary sequels usually don't, and fantasy sequels usually do. So anyway, I digress. I'm so excited to read this book. Like I said, it comes out June 6th, and I'm really excited to read it. The next book on this list is called Vivian Lantz's Second Chances, and it's a middle-grade contemporary time loop story, and it comes out June 13th. I'm so excited to read this book. I've been so intrigued lately by time loop stories. I think that there will be a video coming out this month about my favorite time travel time loop books, so keep your eyes peeled for that in case you are interested in those recommendations. But anyway, I'm so excited for this book because it sounds like it's going to be so good and so awesome. I love the time loop trope because sometimes it's redundant and annoying, but with this author, I trust that it will be so intriguing and so interesting. I've enjoyed her middle grade books so far, so this one sounds like it's going to be so good and so awesome. I'm not sure about the details of the plot, other than she's reliving her first day of school over and over again. So anyway, with that said, I'm so excited to dive into this story June 13th, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next book on this list is called Kismat Connection, which I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm not completely sure, so please correct me if I'm wrong. So anyway, this book also comes out June 13th, and it's a YA South Asian contemporary about a girl who's trying to control her fate. So she sets up a romance, if I'm not mistaken, with the one person that she's not expecting to fall for, her best friend, except that what she doesn't know is that her best friend has feelings for her. I think that this book has fake dating in it, but I'm not completely sure on that. Basically, I'm so excited for this book. Friends to lovers is literally my favorite romantic trope, although usually best friends to lovers isn't, because I usually prefer best friends to stay best friends. You know what I mean? But everybody has been hyping up this book literally so much on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere. So I'm just really hoping that the public is right about this book, and I'm expecting to completely fall in love with it. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm so excited to read this book because it sounds like it's going to be so good and so awesome. I'm excited for a fun, silly, goofy, romantic YA contemporary. So with that said, this book comes out June 13th, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next book on this list is called Ode to My First Call. This book is a YA contemporary in verse, and it's about messy bisexuals, and it comes out June 20th. And I'm so excited to read it because I recently read last month Dear Mothman by this author, which was absolutely so excellent, and it really amplified my expectations for this book. Although their last YA contemporary, A Million Quiet Revolutions, I didn't completely love as much as the general consensus, so I really hope that my enjoyment of this book is more similar to Dear Mothman than that book, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I'm so excited to read a sapphic YA contemporary in verse. I'm so excited for the messy bisexual representation. This book sounds like it's going to be so good and so well done and just so awesome. This is another book that I've seen a lot on social media, not as much as the last book on this list, but a lot, and I'm just so excited to read it. Like I said, Dear Mothman was literally so excellent and so well done, and also written in verse. So anyway, with that said, this book comes out June 20th, and I'm really, really excited to read it. The next book on this list is called Conjure Island. For those who don't know, this book comes out June 27th, and it's a middle grade urban fantasy, and it follows a main character who's trying to find her place in a world that she didn't know existed, which sounds so exciting and absolutely so intriguing. So I'm so excited to read like about the magic and about like the world building and everything. And this also previously wrote Root Magic, which I read at the very beginning of this year, and it was absolutely so excellent. So with that said, I have very high expectations for this book. Like, it's going to be so good. I love reading middle grade fantasies, as you all know, so I'm so excited for the magic, for the world building, for the plot, for the characters, for everything about it. Root Magic was so awesome and so intriguing and absolutely so engaging. So I'm really, really hoping that this book will be not only like the same amount of enjoyment, but also like so much better too. You know what I mean? Which is a tall order. But anyway, the point is, this book comes out June 27th, and I'm really excited to read it. The last book on this list, and hopefully not the least, is called Sing Me to Sleep. This story is a YA fantasy following a young Siren who must choose between her heart and her family in a world where her existence is illegal. This book sounds like it's going to be so intriguing and so engaging. I know I've said pretty recently that I've been growing out of YA fantasies, but this one caught my eye. And I'm really hoping that this book will bring me back into the genre, as well as like other YA fantasies that I will probably read in the next few months. But anyway, this concept sounds like it's going to be so amazing and so well done. And again, this is another book that I've seen hyped up in so many places, on book Twitter, on Bookstagram, like so many places. So I'm really, really hoping that this book will live up to my expectations. Literally, it sounds like it's going to be so good and so awesome with the world building, the plot, the characters, the magic. I'm so intrigued by that synopsis alone that I'm hoping that it will keep me hooked throughout the entire story. So anyway, like I said, this story comes out June 27th, and I'm so excited to read it. So in conclusion, as I mentioned before, June is one of those months where I tend to read a lot, but not as much as I did in previous months, such as May or March, which is why I have high expectations in June, more so for the quality of the books I read, and less high expectations for the quantity of the books that I read. But anyway, I'm really hoping that all of these books will live up to those high expectations that I mentioned earlier. So anyway, in conclusion, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the elephant emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!